Hi, Krista. So it's been a little while. I guess actually like a day or two since I last filmed for you. Though you always make it sound like it's been forever since I answered you. But I have to wait for something to happen. So something's happened. But while you had a date with probably a nice fellow, I got creeped on by a creeper. How come I attract creepers? I don't understand. So on Saturday, I had around 4 o'clock at the Russell House. And I hate it when people come at 4 o'clock at the Russell House because they honestly don't have enough time to get through the museum, and get much out of it. Because I guess it's after 4, and the museum closes at 5. And the audio one takes at least 45 minutes, and so, yeah. Anyway, so he went and did some of the stuff with the audio wand with his son, and I told him, like I would tell everyone, if they have questions, ask me. And, he asked questions, but he was pretty creepy about it. Like, the other family that came in after that, the husband, like the father, I had an Irish or Scottish accent. It was lovely. I loved it when they asked questions. But, yeah, this other guy, though, creeper, like, he made me uncomfortable. Just because he, like, stood close. He's like, really? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. So they moved here. That's where it's built. And so he emailed my boss saying he's so impressed with me. And that made me happy. I'm like, oh, yay, someone, I like compliments. And then he emailed me, because he got my email from my boss. And he, even my mom's like, well, that's an interesting letter. I'm like, yeah, it's because he's like, I feel like we connected on not just an intellectual level. We didn't even say intellectual. He didn't say it right. He just made himself sound stupid. It was like intellector, not even intellect. But it wasn't the right, he's like, it was an adjective when he needed something, but not the right. What was the sentence? I could actually tell you if it was the proper like noun or adverb, or not an adverb, it would be an adverb, adjective. But pretty much said, I don't think we did more than my name may have just been called. I don't know, but he says I think we may have connected on more than just an intellectual level, but like an intimate one as well. And it's like, whoa there, bud. But I responded to his questions that he had about the museum, and then I got an email back today. And this email said that he actually was quite taken with me and would like to talk. Oh my god. Like, this was like Creeper McCreeperson, and how do you respond to that? Like, I didn't respond to him. He said, if not, just let me know. And I'm like, how do I respond that doesn't sound like I'm a total B-word? Because I don't want to be mean, but I don't know. It made me really uncomfortable. Creepers. Otherwise, museum school's been okay so far. Yesterday was a little bit rough, mostly because of scheduling, like making sure people got places on time. Today I had to give a presentation. I got to watch it once, then I got to give it. Tomorrow I have to give 2 tours. I'm kind of nervous about them, but I know I get to use my notes, so hopefully it won't be too bad. And I finally actually made it through the exhibit I'm supposed to be giving a tour of, so that's good. And we are moving this weekend. We just closed on our house today, and so we're going to close on the house that we're moving into tomorrow. And so they're going to clean the carpets tomorrow, and Mom and Dad are going to paint my room. And then I think we're moving, on Friday and Saturday. I don't know. That's going to happen. That's happening. So I'll have a tour soon to give you. I don't know. When are the next few videos? So, oh, and Brittany just had her doctor's appointment yesterday, and we found out that she's gonna get a C-section on Wednesday because Isaiah is too big to actually come out naturally. So, unfortunately, she has another C-section. And she's not too excited about that, but yay, he's coming. So that's exciting. Oh, and on top of that, I've been freaking out a bit about my future, what I want to do. About my GREs mostly, because I just don't feel prepared, because Lindsay and I have been talking, and she wants to try, we had planned on the end of September, and she thought, like, maybe the weekend before the last weekend of September. I just don't know if I'm ready. Like, there's way too much I still want to review with the math. I don't think I'll be able to do it in the next 3 weeks, especially with having to move and with museum school, and I don't know. So I was thinking maybe I could try and take it, but I'd retake it later. but I want to be better prepared, and if I can't get into grad school this year, maybe I can wait another year. I don't know. I've been freaking out about it. Like, I kind of wanted to vomit yesterday when Lindsay and I were talking about it, and then I talked to my mom about it. And I don't know. I just want to work for a little bit, get some experience, because otherwise I haven't had a lot of experience outside like manual labor. I worked at Hilton and Tasling, so at least this will be something, you know, I actually have to work with kids and help with programs and not just, you know, how much I can lift. And I guess at Hilton we did a bit more, you know, just lift stuff. But yeah, this one I feel I have to, and maybe not use my degree so much since that had to do more with writing, since I didn't do LEd or any English education. But we'll see. I just want to get settled in a job and do it well, and then gain some experience. And if I want to move on and pursue my library like job, maybe then. But I don't know. I've been freaking out a bit about it. Picture. Oh, picture. So my story, right? Share. Okay. So it starts out with here, and that's a ship. It's the HMS Indefatigable, and that's the ship that Horatio's on. It doesn't have black sails, but I was trying to color things, and I got a little crazy. And then that's him on his first day on the ship. I didn't have him throwing up because I didn't think that was quite as appealing. But there's one mean midshipman, and he's being mean, and there's the other ones. And so Horatio, who's in the one in the blue in the corner, you know, would actually have completed his outfit. He's all like, "Oh no, I'm intimidated." And there's a gun. Bam! At the end of the first episode, that midshipman that was being really mean to him, he comes across him again, and later, when he's been transferred to another ship, I think, by then, and they end up having to duel. And Horatio doesn't spend his bullet right away, like this dude shoots him, and then he misses. He gets him in the arm. And then Horatio, you know, can pretty much be like, bam! He's like, he shoots it into the air, and he's like, "You're not even worth the powder." And so he starts to walk away, and this guy's like, "Ah!" And then he's about to go attack Horatio with a knife, and then the captain's all like, "Poof!" And he dies. And the captain's like, "Oh, the coward." And, yes, no honor in that man, and so he kills him. And then another episode has to do with fire. So that's a ship on fire. It's called a fire ship. And they used them by setting a light on the enemies. They'd light up a ship, and this one was being sent into a harbor, and so, you know, with a lot of ships, and so it'd go boom. But Horatio, this is like, I'm really shortening the episodes up here. He's taking his lieutenant exams, so from a midshipman you become acting lieutenant, but then become a commissioned lieutenant, you have to pass his exams. So he's getting the exams right now, and he's kind of failing. But they're interrupted because this fire ship comes into the harbor, and he ends up with one of the captains who he used to really admire, not so much now because of during the episode. This captain doesn't. It mostly comes down is that he doesn't always take the lives of his men into account. This is gonna be a super long video. I'm sorry. And yeah, Horatio gets on the fire ship and actually gets it out of the harbor with the help of this guy, and kind of saves the guy's life too. And in the next episode, here you see Horatio in prison because he gets captured by the Spanish. And throughout the whole episode, you see that he'd gotten these papers that were quite vital information for the Admiralty, and you know, the British Navy. And he entrusts them to this Duchess, and we found out later she's actually an actress. But yeah, he ends up getting captured, and so does she. And he meets Archie, one of his friends who he thought was, you know, had died because he had gone adrift one night doing an attack. It takes I'd have to really explain. You have to watch them with me. They're really good. Maybe you'd like them. I don't know. And he gets in a Spanish prison, but he's so, you know, honorable, and he saves the lives of a Spanish ship, and then the Spanish let him go. They pardon him. They let him go, and the person in the prison's like, oh, I wonder if the royal, like the king and queen, know what formidable enemy they're releasing or something. They respected him though. And the next one, there's a bridge, and it's in France, and it has to do with you know, the French Revolution, with between the monarchy and the new people, and the Reign of Terror and the guillotine. Well, they're trying to set the monarchy. The British are going to try and help the monarchy get back into power, because, you know, if the monarchy no longer holds power in France, then they'll give people in England the idea to rebel, and they don't want that. But it goes horribly wrong. Horatio falls in love. This woman dies. Blah blah blah. But the British prevail, kind of, actually, not really, because, you know, the monarchy doesn't come back to France, really. The next one is he's on trial because he kind of commits mutiny, but you find, like, you hear the whole story in 2 episodes, and the captain that he commits mutiny against was, like, insane. And so we know why it was justified, but he has to convince them. And Archie dies in this episode, his best friend. Sad. And then the last one, I just have him as captain of the ship, Captain Hornblower. He's by the wheel. He's not doing the wheel. He just sets the coordinates, and he's all like, I'm Captain Hornblower. Yeah. Yeah, that's my story. And then I'm just going to challenge you. God, this is going to be really long. I'm sorry. It's so long. I'm going to challenge you to put This Way to the Ministry of Magic sign in a bathroom stall at Iowa State. Somewhere. I want you to do that, because I think it'd be hilarious. Or you could draw me a picture about your week, or something like that. But I think the Ministry of Magic sign would be cool. And then for my quotes for today, I'm rereading the Night Angel trilogy, so I have some quotes from there. What people value in their books, and thus what they count as literature, really tells you more about them than it does about the book. Because the only kind of love I have to offer is stupid and blind and so deep and powerful that I feel like I'm cracking just to hold it in. That's fair. This one I thought was funny. So the king's saying, You're shit! You shitting shit! Your Majesty, Durzo said gravely, a man of your stature's cursing vocabulary ought to extend beyond a tedious reiteration of the etc. that fills the void between his ears. I think it's funny. Where's the one I'm trying to find? One's got to do with dreams. There's no guarantee that justice will win out or that a noble sacrifice will make any difference. But when it does, there's something that still swells my chest. There's magic in that. It tells me that the way things are, it tells me that's the way things are supposed to be. The one about dreams that I found is, why is it, my shadow-striding friend, that we don't fear dreams? We lose consciousness, lose control, things happen with no apparent logic and abiding by no apparent rules. We don't fear dreams, but we do fear madness, and death terrifies us. So, I really liked that one. And another super long one that I found, it's just him. It's Brent Weeks, he's the author. So it says, it's long. I'm really sorry, this video is so super long. It says, the truth is, everyone likes to look down on someone. If your favorites are all avant-garde writers who throw in Sanskrit and German, you can look down on everyone. If your favorites are all Oprah Book Club books, you can at least look down on mystery readers. Mystery readers have sci-fi readers. Sci-fi can look down on fantasy. And yes, fantasy readers have their own snobbishness. I'll bet this, though. In 100 years, people will be writing a lot more dissertations on Harry Potter than on John Updike. Look, Charles Dickens wrote popular fiction. Shakespeare wrote popular fiction until he wrote his sonnets, desperate to show the literati of his day that he was a real artist. Edgar Allan Poe tied himself in knots because no one realized he was a genius. The core of the problem is how we want to define literature. The Latin root simply means letters. Those letters are either delivered, they connect with an audience, or they don't. For some, that audience is a few thousand college professors and some critics. For others, it's 20 million women desperate for romance in their lives. Those connections happen because the books successfully communicate something real about the human experience. Sure, there are trashy books that do really well, but that's because there are trashy facets of humanity. What people value in their books, and thus what they count as literature, really tells you more about them than it does about the book. So I talked about that. That was one of the quotes I said earlier, I guess. But yeah, I really liked that quote. I thought it was really good. And so I'm finally going to finish off this super, super long video. And thank you for the patience for, you know, listening to it. And I really don't want to see how long it's going to take to upload to YouTube because it's going to be hideously long. But, yeah, I'll see you soon. I hope you're having fun at school, darling. Love you. Bye.